So what's up, guys? A lot's going on in the market this week. Fed Jerome Powell is going to be speaking on Wednesday, and I think it's going to shift some things in the market. That being said, guys, let's take a look at a few things. We're going to look at SPY, which is the S&P 500, the NAS 100, which is the NASDAQ. It tracks the largest 100 companies. We're going to look at the Dow 30, and then Bitcoin. So some things are going to happen, and I really do believe that there's one common thing that these four markets share. Let's go ahead and deep dive into it really quickly. All right, guys. So really quickly, let's start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is making some new highs here. This is ridiculous. Currently at 66,630 at the recording of this video here. And it's not coincidental at all that it is approaching this previous high back in November 2021. And I like to just draw my resistance zone right here. This is going to be a very, very important area here. So let's track that here. Now, before we go ahead and dissect it a bit, let's go ahead and take a look at the NAS 100. We can see that price is continuing to rise, making higher highs and higher lows, which are the ingredients of an uptrend. We're going to look at the ETF QQQ. Now, if you're new, QQQ actually tracks the NASDAQ here, which is the largest 100 companies in the United States. These do the exact same thing. So if we look at NAS 100, we can see this uptrend, the exact same thing that QQQ is doing. Let's also look at SQQQ, which is pretty much the exact opposite of QQQ. So if you're going to be buying QQQ, you want to sell SQQQ. So they do the exact same thing. They're inverse here. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then let's talk about the S&P 500, the ETF, where it's making higher highs and higher lows. And then let's also look at the Dow 30, which tracks the largest 30 companies, and it's also making higher highs and higher lows. So what do these markets have in common? They're making higher highs and higher lows, which are the ingredients of an uptrend. This also tells us that the United States is trending higher. It's doing really well, right? So these markets tell us that the United States is doing really well when it comes to the economy and so on and so forth. And I think a lot has to do with the interest rates. There's no other person who has more influence when it comes to finances, when it comes to currency and even the markets as the way they move is Fed Jerome Powell. We'll look at what's going on with him. Like I said, he's going to be speaking this Wednesday at 10 a.m. EST. And in my opinion, I don't think it's coincidental that all of these markets are climbing, which is good for the United States. However, just like any market, whether if you're looking at the grocery store market, in order to track buyers, some things are going to have to drop, right? Now, there are supply and demand and things of that nature, but in order to bring buyers, some things are going to have to drop, unless they just don't care about buyers. But some things are going to have to drop, and I don't think it's coincidental that DIA, SPY, QQQ, and the Dow is continuing to make higher highs and higher lows right before Jerome Powell speaks. So there are two parts to Jerome Powell's speak here. So one is that he reads a prepared statement, a text version, and it's made available on the Fed's website at the start of his speech. And then the second part is when he have Q&A, which is questions and answers. Now, the Q&A is completely unscripted. We don't know what questions that these reporters and analysts are going to ask. And because of that, it can build some instability in the market. And instability means that price can go up, down, depending on what he says. And oftentimes as he speaks, it can leave clues as to if the interest rates are going to go higher next time or drop, or maybe even stay the same. And if that happens, these markets typically move as well. So I'm going to be looking at these here, even the US 30, which is also the Dow. So whatever you trade, you want to keep an eye on these markets, okay? So it's either going to do one or two things. It's either going to break higher, past resistance, or it's going to pull back. In my opinion, I think every market needs to pull back. Let's dissect the US 30, for example. I'm going to go to the daily time frame here. In an uptrend, you always have an impulse move. You're going to see some pullbacks. Some pullbacks could be minor or it can be major here. You're going to have impulse, pullback, impulse, pullback. Just the natural ingredients of an uptrend. This is also the Dow 30. It tracks the exact same thing. Here's DIA, the exact same thing. Now let's look at SPY, which is the S&P 500. We have our obvious uptrend. We have our impulse move, pullback, impulse move, pullback, so on and so forth, right? So now we're currently at our impulse move, and I think a pullback is coming soon. Now, I've been trading the market for about 12 years. I've traded futures, stocks, ETFs, index, Forex. So therefore, I pretty much understand how the market moves. And I know oftentimes there's something called a setup. And this is what I call it. A setup simply means that when you have all-time highs or something like Bitcoin, for example, where it is coming to retest a major resistance, and we've had consecutive growth week after week after week, which is ridiculous. So let me measure this really quick here. So where price was consolidating right here, this was the consolidation period. So it started consolidating back in December and some of January as well. And it didn't show much growth at that particular time. And there was growth here. It starts to consolidate, which is also our pullback. But from here to where price is at now, we're looking at a 58% growth. And it may continue higher to retest the 69,000 mark here back in November 2021. But anywhere within this rectangle here, I think there's going to be some sort of reaction. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not only looking at this peak here, I'm looking at this peak here, looking at this wick right here. So this is very significant here. This is my resistance here. And guess what? Fed Jerome Powell will be speaking at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, March 2024. Price is going to definitely react. I really believe price is going to react, whether if it consolidates, cause some instability in the market, and after a little bit of consolidation is either going to push up or pull down. Now, again, he may set the tone to whether or not interest rates may increase, and it may bring some instability. If it increases, then we're going to see a push to the upside or downside at that particular time. But there's going to be some instability. I really don't recommend you buying at this particular time Bitcoin as it continues to grow. Now, can it continue higher now? Absolutely. But you never want to buy when price is continuing to go higher. You want to wait for a pullback. And oftentimes, part of our 90% success rate is just waiting. As a trader, you want to wait and you want to see what will happen. I like to wait for a pullback, see what happens when or if price comes to, like this example here, this previous resistance area right here. So I would like to see if price will go higher, maybe come down and retest this zone right here before I actually go ahead and buy, right? So I'm looking left for clues to see where the market makers and those who actually move the market is going to push the market at. I would rather buy here than buy here as it continues to go higher. Now, it could go higher, but I like mine at a discount, and simply looking at price action and just evaluating every market, there needs to be a pullback before price goes higher. It needs to attract buyers to go higher. As far as the SPY, the exact same thing, right? I can look left for clues. We have no price action here. Recently, price has completely disrespected this resistance zone back in December 2021, right here. Price dropped, broke past resistance, and I believe a pullback needs to happen. Now, whether or not price comes back to retest this previous resistance level in 2022 January, I don't know or not, but there needs to be some sort of pullback, whether if it's a minor pullback or a major pullback. So if I go to the daily time frame, we can see these minor pullbacks here, and we may see a pullback something like this. So all that to say this, guys, for these markets here, the QQQ, the SPY, the DIA, Bitcoin, even gold, I expect some sort of pullback. You don't want to buy as prices continue to go higher. You don't want to do what everybody else is doing. Oftentimes, we just want to wait for price to come to us at a discount and then look for a buying opportunity at that particular time. Guys, so let me know in the comments, what do you think about that? I want you also to join our Discord where we hold these type of conversations and just have Q&As and analyze charts and things of that nature. Our Discord link is in the description below. Again, you want to wait. You want to keep an eye out on when Fed Chair Powell speaks on Wednesday at 10 a.m. EST. That being said, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Join our Discord link and let's go ahead and finish this conversation together. Take care.